Welcome to another video, Verbal Political Talk here. Today is Saturday, July 3rd, 2021, and today we're going to be discussing the 2024 presidential election and looking at a very outlandish scenario where we see, two rather completely unpopular figures in U.S. politics facing against each other in a scenario. So I've been doing a lot of these, unpopular scenarios in the last couple of days. Today is just another one of those, and we're going to be discussing Nancy Pelosi and Donald Trump. Both of these candidates are just so insanely unpopular around the country that any possibility of them winning is completely shocking. So before we get started, I want to remind you guys to like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications to be up to date with our latest content. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's get started with the video. So I'm going to start by filling in the safe states for Nancy Pelosi. She's going to do very well with the Democratic establishment. She probably has enough support in those areas to, win over that vote. College educated voters, a lot of those voters will tend to, move a little bit more with Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi is for sure not the most popular politician in the United States, but she has one big thing going on her side, and that is that she knows how to fundraise. She could probably raise a good buck for this race. Now, when it comes to her popularity with the American public, we're gonna see that being harnessed in some places. And I think in this race you would see states like Virginia, even Colorado. With Nancy Pelosi's establishment appeal, she would do very well in those states. As for Trump and his safe states, I think he would do well, in his traditional Republican states, and even more with Nancy Pelosi on the ticket. If you look back at 2020 Senate and, down ballot elections, I guess that would be the best way to put it. We can see that one of the clear things that a lot of Republicans really campaigned about the Democrats is that they're closely related to Nancy Pelosi. They're Nancy Pelosi radical liberal in that sense. And I think that's one of the big things that is going to push Trump to achieve some higher amounts of votes in certain regions of the country. Nancy Pelosi is not well liked. She probably has the resources to win some of these races by the margin she could do, but at the end of the day, Nancy Pelosi is just so wildly unpopular. So these are our safe states. Moving on to our likely states, or states that I believe would go by less than 15%, but more than 5%. Let's start off with Nancy Pelosi. I think that right now, her options are limited for that. I think New Mexico will fall under that column. Nancy Pelosi could win here. She has certain appeals to Democrats, and the Democratic base would probably come out and vote for her. As far as everyone else goes, that's really up for grabs. As for Trump, I think he's going to do very well with likely states. In a matchup against Nancy Pelosi, I honestly see Trump winning in Pennsylvania by around 5 points. I see him winning in Michigan by around 5 points. And I see him even winning in Arizona by 5 points. Nancy Pelosi is the worst thing that could happen to Democrats if she ever does run. Again, this is highly unlikely just based off where the Democratic Party is today and, how Nancy Pelosi has been years in the Senate. She's not going to give that up for anything. But if this is ever the scenario, we're going to see Trump perform well in the Southwest, do very well in the Sun Belt, and do well up in the Midwest. Because Nancy Pelosi has one type of appeal and one type of appeal only. She has the, elite establishment appeal. She can appeal to those Northern Virginia voters very well. She can appeal to those voters. But then when you start getting into middle-class neighborhoods, working-class neighborhoods, economic voters, a lot of those trickle-down economic voters, those voters are going to end up going to Trump because Nancy Pelosi does not have that appeal. And that's why we see Arizona, Texas, Florida, all these states, there are a lot of factors. She doesn't really have the minority appeal to win in those states. Now, there's some other states here that you could say they could go as far as going by a likely margin of Nancy Pelosi on the ticket. Now, going on to the lean states, the states that would be less than 10 or 5%, but more than 1.5%, I see Nancy Pelosi winning in Minnesota, and I really do see her winning in Nevada. Although she might be unpopular, she probably could appeal to that, Democratic base that's pretty large in Nevada. Trump could get close, but I think at the end of the day, Nancy Pelosi could win. As far as Trump goes, I see him doing very well in Georgia, very well in North Carolina. I think it really comes down to the fact that Pelosi really doesn't have that, Southern Belt appeal. With low turnout for African American voters in this election, I think if this is ever the scenario, that's something we will be seeing. Decreased turnout for African American voters. Trump is really going to benefit from that. That already puts him at 290 electoral votes. That's 20 electoral votes over what is necessary to win the White House. So in this matchup, we have a clear winner. That would be Donald Trump. Now, as far as the rest of these states goes, where do I think they will fall? So I really think that in the state of Michigan, we could see Trump winning also by a lean margin. And in these two districts, Trump would probably win as well. We're seeing a complete sweep for Donald Trump in this election scenario. And I think at the end of the day, it really comes down to Donald Trump's relative popularity compared to Nancy Pelosi and him being an outsider. People who voted for Bernie Sanders or liked Bernie Sanders and AOC, those people in this scenario are likely to just vote for Trump just to say F you to Nancy Pelosi, because a lot of those voters really do not like the establishment. And Nancy Pelosi is the epitome of establishment in U.S. politics. So I think that's something that we have to big, and it's pretty good to analyze. The last state, I think, is New Hampshire. I think Nancy Pelosi has a chance of winning here. This is more of a suburban sort of establishment, sort of not state. It's a really weird state politically. They would probably vote for Nancy Pelosi, but I see Donald Trump doing a little bit better than her. And I think really in this election, what would really give Donald Trump the victory is the populist appeal. Populism can take you a long way, and for Donald Trump, it might be the ticket to the White House if in some odd scenario, Nancy Pelosi is the Democratic nominee. So guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If so, please get a huge thumbs up, like, subscribe, turn on post notifications to be up to date with our latest content. Thank you so much guys for watching, and goodbye.